Hello, today we're going to learn about a computer that'll turn on but nothing will happen on the screen. Right, we're going to start with this. Right, so the first thing you want to do is make sure it's all unplugged and hold down the power button for a few seconds to drain any excess power out of the system. Right, then what you want to do is you got a power cord here. You want to plug that in. You want to plug in your mouse and keyboard. Well, when you're testing the screen, you should normally just plug in the VGA cable or HDMI or DVI or whatever you use for output. We're using an old dummy computer here for this example. Then you turn it on and you see if anything will show up on the screen. Okay, in this case we got something showing up on the screen, but let's say we had nothing showing up on the screen still. Well, then we go to step 2. Making sure the computer's fully unplugged and nothing's plugged into it, and that it's fully drained of power by holding down that button there with it unplugged. Right, so now we've got absolutely no power in the system. So then we're going to grab a screwdriver and we're going to undo that side panel. If I could find a screwdriver, and then I'd show. I used to have one in here. There we go. So we're going to grab this. What we're going to do here is we are going to take out these screws. One there and one here. And then we're going to remove this. So now we've got our bare computer. Now these days you don't see a lot of stuff like this, right? This is a very old computer. Right, so we're not going to see a lot of that, but you're still going to see most of it's still going to be there. Like, you're still going to have PCI slots, still going to have things for graphics cards, you're still going to have RAM slots, and you're still going to have a processor with a heatsink and fans and power supplies and CD, DVD, ROMs and hard drive. You're not going to have floppy drives like this one, but anyway, anymore, but and a lot of computers actually that are custom built don't have CD-ROMs in them now neither. People choose not to install them. There's a case either doesn't support it or they don't feel the need to have it in there. And they have an external one just in case, or they just do everything from download. Now, we want to unplug everything. Everything. We don't want anything plugged into this. We want to start to put things in one by one to try and figure out what our problem is. Now here I am trying to get a pesky bloody screw out of the system. So I'm going to flip it. Come on, out of the system. Alright, I think I got it out. So now we've got to screw it out. Right, now, well, I think it's out. Hang on, it's important that you don't have any loose screws in your system. Oh, yep, they're all out. Okay, so that's all our screws. Right, so you want to take out anything that's plugged into your PCI slots, which are these white slots here. Or they might be black, or they might be green. There's so many different colours on motherboards, but they'll look like this, right? And you also have little miniature ones that are about half of the size, and they're just like that these days. But so make sure anyway, anything in these slots, unplug it, right? Even graphic cards, unplug them. You want it totally blank, and you just want what's on the board. Then you want to try and turn it on again. Right? You want to turn it on. You don't have to plug in your mouse and keyboard. You can just plug in your display and plug in that, or maybe plug in the keyboard just in case. And then you turn on your system. Now listen for any beeps. We got a beep. We got something showing up. Okay, so obviously if you got that beep and something showing up, that's your problem. Right, that's what you're getting. That's your problem. In this case, that is not our problem. That is not our problem, right? So the computer didn't turn on still, say. So say that's not our problem. So the next stage to do would be to unplug any drives, including the DVD, CD, ROM, any fans. Unplug all of that. Make sure all your plugs from your power supply are plugged into your motherboard. And then unplug them from that. Unplug them from the actual board. Make sure that they're not plugged in, right? Now I'm doing that roughly because it's an old system and I don't frankly care about it. But if it's a new system, you know, a modern system, you'd want to take a bit more care. You'd want to pull them out gently and be as careful as you can possibly be. But in this case, we got nothing plugged in except for the motherboard, right? So, and all those plugs there which are needed, so to turn it on and show up LEDs and all of that. So now we're going to turn on the system once we plug it in, right? And we're going to see if that's fixed our problem. Right, let's say, yep, okay, problem's fixed. But what if it isn't fixed? Okay, then you go to the next stage, which is to take out your RAM. Take out your RAM, right? Then I want you to plug the system back in. And I want you to turn it on, and I want you to hear if it beeps. That beeped. Hear that long? See? Hear that? That means that it's detected that there's no RAM in the system, and obviously the process is working, otherwise it wouldn't beep like that. So that knows that there's no RAM in the system. Right, so now we're going to replace the RAM in, but we're going to do one stick at a time. We're going to do this stick. And we're going to turn on the system. We're going to put it in slot 1, which is always closest to the CPU. And then we're going to see if we get picture, right? And we got picture, so that's a good sign. But say we didn't get picture, don't give up hope on this RAM. Take that RAM out, try the next RAM. Put that in. Put the next RAM stick into where you had the last RAM stick. And don't have the other RAM stick in there. Well, make sure you have it the right way round too, otherwise you'll fucking damage it. But make sure you have it the right way round. So that's in. Now we hit it again. See if we got any picture. Right. We got picture, we got everything, right? So say you didn't get picture, that's no problem. I want you to try putting it into the other slot and do the same thing. And if you don't get picture on that screen still, there's either something wrong with your motherboard, or it's your power supply. Now, to determine if it's your power supply, you have to unplug your power supply, obviously. You want to fully drain the system by holding down this button for a few seconds. This will be long enough. Then you want to unplug everything from this. And then you want to find yourself another power supply and plug it into it. Now, I have another power supply here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in this power supply. Right? We're going to plug it in. We're going to plug this into here. And then we're going to plug in our 4-pin connector here, which is near the CPU. Then we're going to grab our plug and we're going to... Now, we're going to turn it on. Now, if you get a beep though, as I was saying, that's a good thing. That means that the system is still alert, which means it's still detecting that there's no RAM in the system, which is good. That means that part of it's still working. If it wasn't to beep, then it's a bit of a problem. Then it could mean something's wrong. But as I said, it could be your power supply. So we're going to discover that now. Now, if it turns on with your different power supply, which you want to make sure it's a working power supply, otherwise it'll trick you. And you'll think the computer's stuffed when it's actually a power supply. And now you turn it on. And look at that, we got picture. So that's basically all the tips I can give you to whether it's your what fault it is with your computer. Now if you get nothing after that, absolutely nothing, your board is stuffed. But there's one last thing you can try. You can take out this battery, leave the computer for 5 minutes and hold down that button to drain any power, and then basically, if it works after that, you're golden. If it doesn't work after that, there is something wrong with your motherboard, and it's a waste of time mucking with it. You might as well, either if it's a custom build, get a new motherboard, or if it's an old as computer or a stock build, you might as well turf it and buy a new one. And that is my video. Thanks for watching.